What's up, everybody? I'm Peanut Tillman, and this is the NFL Players Second Acts podcast. And with me, as always, is my trusty co-host, Roman the Elder Harper.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Peanut, even though you're older than me. I want to jump right into our guest. I mean, we've already been talking. Introduce who he is.
First ballot Hall of Famer, NFL top 100 players, Walter Payton Man of the Year award winner. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Anthony Muñoz to the show. Yes. Welcome to the pod.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
I'm going to just say this. I know who you are. I played my 13 years. I've seen you Super Bowls and all the events that the league does. And having done the research on you, I didn't know how dominant you were. I don't pay attention to linemen as much per se because I'm a DB. So I'm, receivers, maybe tight ends, but you were a dog. You were great.
He told me this morning.
I was
Anthony,
just like,
with all due respect, I said, dude, he's considered the best tackle of all time.
I know. I just didn't think about it.
Paid attention. Obviously, I did. I appreciate. Wow. And I followed your son when he was at college too.
Don't shit on me. I gave the man his flowers.
I know. No,
well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I mean, it's still very humbling. I mean, I'm an old guy. I got a son your age. I got grandkids that are in high school, and I still pinch myself. I live in Cincinnati, so it's a 3-hour drive to Canton. And I've been in 27 years, and I still pinch myself every time I drive up. I have to watch it because I daydream a little bit while I'm driving, about coming up and being with all the guys and thinking about the guys I've gotten to know over the years that are no longer with us when I got in. It's just one of those things where my wife and we got married my sophomore year in college, where we knew each other when I was in high school in our hometown. And, we both just kind of say, man, this is unbelievable to be able to come up here. So I played 13 years in the league. After I retired, we moved. We built a new house, and that was 32 years ago. And I found my freshman playbook from USC. Mm-hmm. That was, 17 years after I left USC. I found this my freshman playbook, and I said, I'm going to read through it, see what kind of plays we ran. Well, I knew we ran student body right, student body left, student body right, student body left.
Did they call it student body back then?
Well, no, we called it 28-29, but that was the name.
That was the name.
That was the name. But I opened it up, and the first page, just written in block letters, just one word on that first page said, dominate. Open the next page and said, we will dominate our opponent the first play of the game, and they will give up by the end of the third, early fourth quarter. So that's how I was trained in college. And the pros had the same line coach for 13 years. We had shirts at camp that said finish. Play goes from the snap to the whistle.
Absolutely.
And I understand some defensive linemen don't like to go to the end. And we were like, let's see how many times we can make those D-line have to get off the ground. So that was our whole philosophy. Not that it's going to happen every play, but that was our attitude. And I talk about, I still coach sometimes and talk about O-line play, and it's all about one word, attitude. If you have the attitude to dominate, you're going to get out there, and that's going to be your primary goal. And that's the way I was taught, and not only in football, but I have 2 older brothers. They taught me to do that in life. Baseball is my first love. I started playing baseball at 7 years old, and I was going to be a Major League Baseball player. And my brothers took me under their wing, man, and it was like I competed with them, 2 years older, 8 years older, and that's what they taught me. They said, you don't have to talk. Don't talk about your game. If your game is good enough, people will talk about it. So that's little did I know I was learning humility at the age of 7.
Yeah.
So that was my approach. That's everything I do. I'm going to let what I do, my body of work, speak for itself. So I appreciate you guys saying that.
I want to just applaud you because you mentioned all these things, and I've been doing a lot of reading this off season for myself for growth purposes. Mm-hmm. And you truly learn that you are a product of your whole environment. It's not just the college you choose. It's usually your upbringing, your birth order, you being the youngest of 2 older brothers trying to keep up. Like all these things kind of make you who you are at the end of the day. The reason why you want to dominate, it's college, what I learned. And you were on the national championship baseball team at Southern Cal.
Yeah.
Could you maybe tell us some stats? We couldn't find them. Give us a breakdown. I saw you with a bat. You're on the website. Yeah. I mean, you look like a huge guy in the batter's box, but this is great. Maybe kind of tell us about that story because you had some really good players and teammates on that team as well.
Well, it's interesting. So I always wanted to play baseball. And, at 6'6", 300 as a senior in high school, I tell people, football was going to be my meal plan. And that was going to be my way out of Ontario, California. But I wanted to make sure that I could continue to play baseball in college because I loved it. I was a third baseman pitcher at 275. And USC, it wasn't only a recruiting pitch. They had done that with a lot of guys prior to me going there. So, I mean, pretty much a done deal once USC came after me. But the crazy thing about it is that in 4 years at USC, I had 3 knee operations.
Ooh.
Freshman year, junior year, senior year. The only healthy year I played in football was my sophomore year. And that was the year I played baseball because I was rehabbing the other 3 years. So I went out and I was my sophomore year in school, but I was a freshman in baseball. So they had looked at me as a relief pitcher. So I get out there. When I went home after my freshman year, I played a little summer baseball just to keep throwing the ball. So I went in there, and on the side, I was getting my arm in shape, and they were letting me play a little first base, a little DH. Played a couple. That was back then, a JV team, so I played 2-3 games on the JV team. Then they moved me up to the varsity, and I was hitting the ball pretty well. But once my arm got into shape, I was in the pen, no more hitting. I was a fungo hitter, hitting it to the outfielders, which was fine. So we were loaded. I mean, we won the World Series. We went to Omaha and just swept everything. The entire team got drafted. And I'm thinking there was 2 of us, 2 freshmen on the pitching staff. Man, I'm going to get a lot of time next year. Then I get hurt again. But so stats, it was the only year I played. So I had 1 win. We're in Texas during Easter. Starting pitcher takes a line drive in the arm. So I warm up, I pitch, I get the win. So I was 1-0 in college. And I didn't know my stats either. I know that was the first time that I threw a fastball and it hit the parking lot over the fence faster, and it got. I was one of those, oh my goodness! I guess I'm in the big time. But I think I threw like 11 or 12 innings and had like 13 strikeouts.
Nice.
14 strikeouts. But the thing is, I was undefeated, so I was 1-0. But like I said, the team was loaded. I still have contact with a lot of those teammates. I mean, there was number 1 picks of the Giants. There was utility outfielder for the Astros and all-star catcher for the Twins, and so there was a lot of great guys. In fact, our stud pitcher was a left-hander. He played 2 years at SC, then he was number 1 pick for the Giants. 26-2 at SC his 2 years.
Oh, wow.
I mean, just phenomenal.
I got to know this because now you're so close to it. Tell me the biggest difference from because I know we all have our own little things that we like to do before the games. We talked to John Rand
Superstitions.
about the superstitions.
I got you.
Between baseball and football, I know baseball has more, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tell me the biggest difference in the locker rooms going from football to baseball locker rooms, because it's got to be night and day.
Well, first of all, baseball locker room is so much more about stats. I mean, the guys are like fixated about stats. They're all about stats. And it's, I enjoyed that. I still have some great friends, but football to me is more, I think you get more of a true brotherhood. I mean, I got some great friends from baseball. Don't get me wrong. And our locker room was great. But I don't know, maybe it's because of the physical aspect of the game and the camps we go through. Baseball, you get a good workout and it's a few sprints after you throw a few, pitches.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the difference because it is such a physical sport and you go through so much more in camp than you do in baseball. But I noticed that guys are constantly looking, okay, what's my batting average? Maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's a DB wide receiver thing. I don't know if you guys are constantly looking at
we don't do that.
Wide receivers probably do.
Wide receivers for sure. I'd say definitely wide receivers.
But that's probably the biggest difference I noticed.
Do you think baseball helped you with football?
Definitely. I think all 3 sports. I played football, basketball, and baseball in high school. And as a big kid, think about it. I was a third baseman at 275 pounds. Mm-hmm. Now, I had to hit a ball twice as far as my teammates to get around the bases. I mean, not until my senior year, freshman year, did my speed start. But you could not bunt on me. At 275, I could move forward lateral. You couldn't get the line on me. I was blessed with being able to sit down and move. Think about that, sitting down and moving. At 270, I was guarding guys that were 170 in basketball. So I had to move my feet, right? Mm-hmm. Football, what do you do as an old lineman? You sit down and you got to move. You got to move. You got to have, out in space, left tackle. You got to. So, yeah, I think baseball really helped me out. And I think that's why I'm such a big, and I know it's tougher now. I'm so big on multiple sports, guys, because you're working different muscles. My age, I can still sit down in that stand. I can't get up right away, but I can still sit down like I needed to playing third and sit down like what I needed to when I was pass blocking.
Why did you wear number 78? You were number 77 in college. Why did you wear number 78?
Well, I got to Cincinnati. I didn't have enough money to buy 77 from the veteran offensive lineman.
It's a great reason.
You hear about that. Guys get to another team and they say, I'll offer you this much for that number. So 78 was available, which is pretty cool. because 78, there's so much significance in that number in that year. And, I look back to college. I was a sophomore, in 1978, sophomore, then going into my junior year. That was the year we got married, so 1978. So we've been married. 78 is the year I started my spiritual journey. That's when I trusted Jesus, and it's been 47 years. So that, and, so it was a lot of significance. And I'm thinking, okay, that's pretty cool. Number 78. And of course, that was the one healthy year I played. And I got to throw this out there. I'm a big SEC guy, but
come on.
You mentioned best road trip, and I thought we were going to talk about. I don't know if you just meant overall or football. Mm-hmm. And I have to share this with. It was my junior year, 1978, week 2, best road trip we had. We ran student body right, student body left all day long. 24-10, we beat Alabama in Alabama. I'm sorry, I had to mention that.
There's nothing wrong with it. No. That changed. That was a big thing for us.
Oh man, I tell you what, you guys were loaded then, and then got reloaded again for many years. But
well, how fun was it? I mean, because Alabama's not used to having teams from the West Coast come into Bryan.
Oh, it was huge because they came to L.A. my sophomore year. So that started. So 21-20, we score, make it, and we go for 2. Of course, we want to win, so we didn't make it. So
because there was no overtime.
No overtime. So we lose 21-20. Then we go to Alabama, and that was my sophomore year. I tell people we had a terrible year. We're 9-3. We didn't go to the Rose Bowl. So now we go into Alabama, my junior year.
Who was the head coach?
John Robinson.
John Robinson. Okay.
And then we go in. Dwight Stevenson and Marty Lyons, Barry Krause.
Yeah.
Tony Nate. Loaded. We had Marcus at fullback, Charles White. We had Ronnie Lott, Dennis Smith, Joey Brown. So both teams were just like, And so we go down there, and I'll never forget. And I was a weak side tackle. So on student body right, we flip-flop. Me and the back guard pulled. And we pulled, and it was first time I'd ever been exposed to humidity. I'm like, give me that water, give me that. That's my air. Give me my air. But we ran that all day long. And so that was really pretty cool. Bear Bryant was still there. And that was huge to go into Alabama. So we split 1-on-1. And, and earlier, I mentioned the SEC. We went to LSU that next year. We went to LSU Baton Rouge. And what an atmosphere there. So, I had a blast, even though I spent a lot of time rehabbing in college. Some of the guys I played with are amazing. I see 4 of them here in the Pro Football Hall of Fame from my senior year team.
That's wild.
Ain't it though?
Wild.
Yeah, we had Ronnie Lott. We had Marcus, Bruce Matthews, and myself. And off that last team, we had, I think, 15 first-round picks. And, we were just, it was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. Think about it. Marcus Allen, our fullback, at about 210 pounds, maybe, dripping wet.
I want to know, is it because you think recruiting has changed so much? Because you had a son go through the whole college experience. He was highly recruited. You have grandkids now that are about to going through this stuff, right? I'm sure. And so I know, for you to have 4 Hall of Famers on one team in any college now would be, in my mind, I just don't see it. Talent is so much more spread out. And so back then, was it just SC? That's
you had Ohio State, Notre Dame. You had a handful. Mm-hmm. I think the difference now is I look at my sophomore year when we didn't go to the Rose Bowl. We went to the Bluebonnet Bowl and played A&M. Charles White was our starting tailback. He had about 180 yards that game. But we had 2 backup running backs. One was probably the fastest guy on the team, but he was hurt. Mm-hmm. One of the guys had 150 yards who had been hurt but fast. See what happens now, if you don't start, you're not there. You leave.
Just leave.
Yeah. We were 3-4 deep when I was at SC. That was back in the day of 130 guys. Because you didn't start your freshman year, you didn't transfer right away. You were there because you knew you were going to compete and you win games. You know you're going to go to Rose Bowl. I think that's the difference. And of course,
do you think that's killing the game of college football? Do you think that's hurting college football?
I don't know if it's hurting it, but it's strange. Because now when kids are getting into the pros, right now, let's use this example. I go back to LA, my wife and I, there's 5 couples that we get together with. We'll go to dinner on anniversaries or birthdays, or just go to dinner. All 5 guys, we were offensive linemen as freshmen at USC. 4 of us were married in college, 1 shortly after college. Now, you introduce a guy on an NFL game, he started at this college, went to that college. Where do you hang your hat? What guys do you hang with 45, years later.
Yeah.
So I think to me, that is so special to be able to hang with guys that you entered college with at 17, 18 years old that know you and that you might not see them every month of the year, but you see them 2-3 times a year and you don't lose a beat.
I don't think they care about that though at this moment in time right now. I think it's a very interesting perspective of how you put that. I just don't think the young fellas are really looking at that. They're more about, I get you're trying to make money for your family,
right? Exactly,
and better yourself. I just don't think, for the most part, they're worried about, at 18, I want to be able to go to dinner with you.
They don't
when
think
I'm
that
62 or 60. No, they don't.
We have lived life, so we appreciate it.
Yeah.
And it is a unique experience where you have these bonds, where, man, we got drafted, or, one of my teammates won a Super Bowl, and it's like special. And it is like when you get back with these people. I also think it's something to be said about having a home to go back to.
Yeah.
Like you said at the hat, like, man, you're an SC Trojan.
Yeah.
And so you roll with them. And you roll
exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm rolling.
Right.
And so, like, when that Ohio State guy wants to say something to me yesterday on the golf course, like, hold on, dog. Like, you know what I mean? So it's
I'm gonna just throw this story out. I'm a 30-second story. We go golfing yesterday. We should have went golfing with you all. Rome is teeing up his tee. He's getting ready, and he's got his Alabama bag, his golf bag. And this guy said something like, they have more bags. They got some Ohio State bags. And if you know Rome, he's a happy, lucky go. He laughs. He cries when he laughs. He's crying all the time. He's got a tear jar right now because he's laughing. Like one of the happiest guys I know. And he just kind of looks at him in this mean, serious face and was like, "You ain't no competition." Like, but he said it so rude. And I'm looking at him like, "Bro, what is you doing?" He was just like, "Man, you can't come at me like that first thing in the morning and talk about my school. Like, I ain't feeling that, bro. I ain't feeling that. You can't just rip me like that first thing in the morning, man." I was like, all right, man. I just like, he gets testy when you talk about Alabama. He gets testy.
But isn't it amazing? I love that story because I know so many of us, it's the banter about colleges.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. It's you can say anything you want about a pro team. That don't bother me.
Yeah, it's like, I get it, of course, being in Big Ten country. It's like, don't you wish you would have gone to Ohio State? And this is my comeback. I said, you know what? If I'd have gone to Ohio State, I would have been 0 for USC. I would, instead of being 10-0 against the Big Ten, as we were at USC, I wouldn't have beat the big Pac-12. And they're like, okay, I guess you're happy at USC. So I get it. I get it. You do it kind of in a jokey way, but it's like, hey, don't get after me.
He wasn't joking when he said his.
It was too early. It was like 7:30 in the morning. And that's how we lead.
So here's one for you. So we're watching the national championship game between the SEC and the Big Ten. Of course, we're at our house. And with Ted Ginn Jr. runs the opening kickoff back for a touchdown.
Yes.
And they're like, okay, SEC, because my son, okay, SEC, where's all this speed? After that, they didn't say a word the whole game because I think they just smacked down. And it was like crazy. It was funny. Yeah.
But the Big Ten won last too, so it's
that's true. Yeah, give them their props.
Give them their props.
So we alluded to some of this a little bit earlier. NFL top 100 player. The NFL's been around since 1920. And I believe 2020 is when they came out with that team. And there's been thousands of players, not just offensive linemen. There's been thousands of players that have come through this league. And you were a top 100 player out of all the people that have been in this league. What does that feel like? Like when you got that, and it's one thing to get the gold jacket.
Yeah.
You got the maroon, like that wine jacket. Yeah. What did that feel like?
It was amazing. We're down in Miami for the Super Bowl, and they put us all in the same hotel, and I'm just walking around. But you're right. We have 382 guys in the Hall of Fame, and there's just 100 guys in the all-time 100 team. And, the selectors were pretty impressive. Knowledgeable. So it's like, man, it was a compliment. To be around those guys. And, again, to me, I have to look at the journey because I think about, all you have to do is look at my knees and, the 3 knee operations in college, playing one game my senior year, got hurt the first game, surgery, rehab, and I played in the Rose Bowl. That was the only game I played. And everybody's saying that's a great way to end a career. Go on, find something else to do. You played in the Rose Bowl. That's what you wanted to do with your guys. And I said, well, I'm just going to keep busting it. Hopefully, even as a free agent, because before my senior year, projected top 10. After that 3rd knee operation, free agent, maybe not even a chance. So I just want a chance to get in an NFL camp. I wanted to compete. I just wanted to see if I could compete. And so thinking about Hall of Fame, top 100, I just think about that support group. Earlier you mentioned, and I kind of took it as self-made, people talk, and I laugh when they say, oh, this self-made guy, self-made lady. And then all of a sudden they get an accolade. They're going to give a speech and they have like 5 pages of people they're thanking. And I'm thinking, if you're self-made, don't you get up to the podium and say, I want to thank myself. I want to thank myself. I did a great job. But no, they're thanking high school teachers and aunts and uncles. And that's the same way. I mean, I'm thankful for the medical staff, the training staff, my college teammates that encouraged me. Of course, my wife that was with me every step of the way, and family, and just all the encouragement I had, even trying to stay away from reading, he's not going to play in the NFL. And then for the Bengals to pick me, not only draft me, but with the 3rd pick in the draft and give me a chance to go to an NFL camp, it makes that, Hall of Fame. And then just even more like, wow, humble, because here I wasn't even going to get a chance, but more than half the teams failed me in the physical. And the Bengals said, hey, we watched that Rose Bowl, we're going to take you. And, to be able to play for them and to be able to play for a few more games than I did at USC. But it's really humbling to sit around with all these guys and guys that played way before I played, a little before, guys I played with, and guys that played after I played, and to just think about, man, and you're right, you think about the number of individuals that have played this game and that they've taken 100 all time, and they're going to say, okay, you're the 100 top. It's just to be mentioned with the other linemen, which is pretty cool.
We've all been humbled in this league at some point or another. And I remember my rookie year, my first training camp, I was humbled fairly quickly by Olin Kreutz. Do you have a welcome to the NFL moment?
Yeah, I do. So my first head coach, Forrest Gregg, Hall of Fame tackle, Green Bay Packers. So we go up to Green Bay to play, where he played. And I'll never forget, as a rookie, I've been called out in front of my teammates one time, and that was by my Hall of Fame tackle head coach, because their defensive end had a really good game. And not only did they have a good game against me, they pulled him out in the last few minutes, and he's sitting on the bench real close to the side, and a fan handed him a hot dog, and he's eating a hot dog before the game was over. So at our meeting Monday morning, man, he got up and he's talking. He goes, and you are number 1 pick. And he goes, such and such had his game, and then he's eating. And I'm like, that will be the last time that's going to happen. So that was as a coach, and then I had another one early in my career. We're playing the New England Patriots. And early on, I showed that I could pull. So for a tackle, to pull is rare. So we had to play, and I still remember the play, hound to eye release. Left tackle, I would pull all the way around, strong guard, and the onside backer. They have a backer that's about 6'5", 250, Steve Nelson. Our sideline's here, and my whole thing was when I pulled, get the shoulders turned up so I can, boom, then go up. I did not get my shoulders turned. I come here, Steve Nelson, and just as I started to turn, boom, he hit me and all my teammates on the sideline go, because he unloaded, man. And I was like, and I tell people, you get knocked down. I don't care who you are as a football player, Hall of Fame. We all get knocked down.
Yeah.
We get knocked down in life. How are you going to get back up after you? And believe me, I got up in a hurry.
Yeah.
I got up in a hurry, like got back in the huddle and said, okay, that's not going to happen again.
So after all that happened, right? So I think my rookie year, I knew I was pretty good after I made a play against Randy Moss, right? I go up, Randy Moss is in his prime. I go up, I get an interception, and I'm telling myself like, damn, okay, I'm from this small school, but I think I can play in this league with these cats. I just did this to Randy Moss. Like it helped my confidence. Was there a play that made you think to yourself, oh man, I could dominate this league? When did you know you could be a dominant player?
When I got to camp and I earned the starting job 3 days into camp because of what I was doing. It was like, I was going against guys that had played at Notre Dame and they were in the league for a while. And I was able to pass block and run block. And I said, man, I'm thankful they drafted me. And the first thing that came to mind is, remember I said I wanted a chance to go to camp to see if I could compete. I told myself, I can compete in this league. And all of a sudden I started saying, I don't only want to compete, I want to be the best. I want to be a Pro Bowler every year. But first 3 days in camp, and then that first preseason game, I said, okay, there you go. You got Leroy Selman right across from you, Tampa Bay. And then 3 weeks later, I opened up with Tampa, and I got Leroy Selman again. And so it was early on when I said, I believe I can compete in this league.
So you're not the only tackle that has mentioned Leroy Selman. I want to get to that in a second, but I want to kind of go back a little bit. You know, you mentioned your college, how hurt you were. You had 3 knee surgeries. Yeah. You're only healthy your sophomore year. Your senior year, you played 2 games. And so you only played 16 games total in college.
Well, it's a few more. So 9 my freshman year, 12, 21, and then 7. So about 26 games.
Okay. About 26 games total in college.
Out of about 44 to 50. Yeah.
Okay. All that being said, you only missed 10 when you got to the NFL throughout your 13-year career. How much pride do you take in that? Because like you said, it was all the doubt leading up to it. And you said, you know, I put all that down, and then you were able to stay healthy for your whole career, majority of your career.
Well, I think the key for me was my workouts for a lineman. I lifted like crazy, but running was a big part of my work. And I ran a lot of distance. Like, let's take my rookie year. I took a day off after that last game, and I started running distance for about 2 months. I was like 4 to 6 mile a day guy. So I felt the better shape I was in, and the stronger I was going to cut down the risk of injury. So being physically as strong and as, when I got to camp, I didn't worry about my cardio. I could get through practice, and we'd do our gassers, and I would breeze through them. And so when I got drafted, you have your team goals, playoff, Super Bowl, but a lot of my personal goals were every time I put the Bengal uniform on, I want to be there for my teammates. I want to be there every Sunday for my teammates. And I'm going to do whatever I can. There's a lot of things just out of your control, getting hurt and stuff, but I want to be in the best shape. So when I'm going full speed, I can bounce right back up. And I had dings here and there, but I'm very grateful that I was able to play that many games. I missed my first game, year 11. I had a dislocated, linebacker hit me from behind after the play was whistled dead. So I had dislocated elbow, so I missed the last 2 games. And that was my, week 14 of my 11th year. And so that was, to me, not only was it my job, and I said, it's my job, so I'm going to be ready, and I'm going to be out there. I want my teammates to trust and believe that I'm going to be ready every Sunday to go out there with them. And that was my whole goal.
Yeah, to say you were ready is probably the understatement of the day, but I appreciate you being as humble as you are, Anthony. You were selected either first team or second team All-Pro every single season. I'm sure you know this, but I want to make sure
except for 2 years.
Except for 2 years out of your whole career, which is your rookie year and your last year. Like, when you're saying these stats, like, I know you've heard them, but like, how do you even kind of quantify the level of success that you were able to have? Or like, when people tell you these things, you can't just brush it off anymore. Explain this to me like a normal person when we bring up stats like this that nobody else has.
Well, so I go right back to preparation. I think if you're a businessman and you're in the top of your field, it's because of you're staying on top of your craft. You're learning everything you need to learn about your business. And that was the approach I took. My off season was just not running and lifting. It was lifting, running, and then take some time to do my technique. I wanted to go into camp, I did plyometrics. So when I got into camp and my first one-on-one pass pro, I didn't feel like I had 2 left feet. I felt like I'd been pass proing all off season because of the plyos I did. So it was about, and then studying film and studying, okay, you got to do this better. So I really believe that was the key. And every year I said, okay, year 5, it's 4 Pro Bowls in a row. I got to turn up preparation in the off season. I got to do even more and focus more on the technique, get even stronger, or try to get stronger, stay on top of that. And my conditioning, I could run. The tests we did, an example, my last year, I'm 34 years old, and we have to do a mile. So there's Tim Crumry, crazy D tackle, who did mini triathlons, and myself. So we had 8.5 minutes to run a mile, O-line, D-line together. So we line up, and I look at Tim, he looks at me, and we wink. And we say, so we take off, and we do it like in 6:40, 6:50. And all the young linemen are complaining, say, hey, I'm an older guy now. I gotta show this team that I can still. So that was the key. I prepared for that. And all the other position guys were like, what are you guys doing? We have this much time. We're not going to. I said, guys, we're getting ready for a season, man. If you want to win, you go out and prepare to be the best. So that was, to me, to stay on top of my craft. I did everything from January to July that I possibly could do. So when I went to camp, all I had to worry about was my blocking combinations and just, with my linemen, the football part. But I didn't have to worry about my conditioning. I didn't have. So I believe that's what allowed me to go in year 1, year 10, and even year 13, even though I was on IR a couple of times, I could probably run a lot more year 13 than I could year 9.
You just kept turning it up.
Yeah. So you just keep turning the volume. I just keep turning. One of the things my daughter, laughs because we call her the best athlete. You talk about our grandkids, but our daughter, she was a 2-time Miss Basketball, 2-time D1 Player of the Year in Ohio, went to Tennessee.
Oh, nice.
And of course, I played, but I never gave her any basketball. The only thing I would do during a game is if I know something, she would look, I would go,
turn it up.
I'd go, turn it up. And she jokes about that now. She goes, that's all Dad to her boys. Her boys, 14 and 15, they're like 6'8" now. And I'm looking up at her. And that's all she talks about is turning up the volume, the intensity. And to me, that's what it was all about, attitude.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
Just keep being a sports parent. Love that for you.
Oh, it's cool. I love it.
So I want to talk about Super Bowl real quick. Super Bowl XXIII. What were you thinking when you were on the sideline and you see Joe Montana come in with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter and they take the lead 16-13?
So when he first came in, deep 8-yard line, then they start down. I'm thinking if I only had Bruce Smith pass rushing ability to go and help my defense and get some pass rush on him. It's crazy because Jerry Rice had, I think, over 200 yards. Felt helpless there, just watching.
I know that feeling, unfortunately.
So I want to talk about, another record that you have, and is that you are tied for all time with 4 touchdowns for offensive linemen. But I want to talk about specifically your favorite one. At least that's what you've told people before.
Oh, that's
your first
easy.
one.
That's easy.
Cleveland.
We're right down the street.
Let's go, baby. Talk about it. Tell me about it. Draw the picture for me.
All right. Sam Weiss, rookie head coach. Kenny Anderson, starting quarterback, hurt. Our backup. So Boomer Esiason, rookie. He's left-hander. Mm-hmm. He's in. And it's muddy. It's terrible. And so we're up in Cleveland. And so we're down 17-10. 40-some seconds left. They're punting. All they got to do is punt it away. We have no timeouts. They pin us deep. There's no way. Rodney Holman goes through tight end, blocks the punt. Now we got the ball. We had a little life. So we're going down. Pass interference on the one. So we get at the 1-yard line. And that was the first week that Sam put in. We called it our Weeby goal line because when we get in that formation, we be scoring. So he put in 2 more linemen. Then that was the first time he put me at H-back. It was always tight end, H-back. But that was the first week that he had a play designed, 28 Anthony bounce touchdown. And it was on the play sheet. I said, there's no way they'll ever call it. So, Sam and the quarterbacks always signal in plays, they
tell them how important, tell the people how important it is to make sure you catch the ball when you actually call this play in practice.
Okay, so the importance being in Cleveland is that I either fly home with the team or I walk home.
Okay, yeah.
That's how important. Come on. But no, interstate rivalry, the Cleveland Browns. Paul Brown was with the Cleveland Browns, started the Bengals, the owner. Horace Gregg, my coach, although this was afterwards, he was fired from Cleveland, but now this is Sam Weiss's first year. So it's very important.
Yes.
So I'm thinking first time of practice for work, and I feel good about catching the ball. Boomer a couple of times. Boomer can throw the ball, but Kenny kind of real nice. And so we get in there and we block it, 1st and goal, 7. Well, I didn't know the signals for all the other plays, but I knew the signal from Sam to Boomer for this play. And I said, so we're in the huddle, 1st and goal, no timeouts at the 7. I look over and Sam is signaling this play where I'm the primary receiver, offensive tackle at H-back. And I'm thinking, holy smokes. I said, this guy does not want to be a head coach in the NFL long. I said, okay, time to catch it. So we line up. I'm on the right H-back. I hit, it's ankle deep mud. It's his back. We go to the ground. And Boomer takes it. He's rolling because he's faking, and he's rolling to right as a lefty. Well, I fall, and he's going that way. I go, nope, I'm staying right here. So the defense gets up. They start chasing, and I just settle right here. Boomer stops. Boom. I catch it. Touchdown. We kick the extra point. Now we're going overtime. That takes us into overtime. Jim Breach, all-time leading scorer for the Bengals, 9 for 9 in OT. Kicks the field goal. We beat them 2017 in overtime. And but it was funny. So I got to share a fast forward now. So I grabbed the touchdown, the first one, and my linemen, man, they're grabbing me, and I was going to spike it. I thought they were going to rip my shoulder out. So I waited for them to leave, and then I went, boom, the ball, boom. So a couple years ago, on that date, they usually play that video. And this young man, and I rarely answer social media, and I was on Twitter. And some guy writes, he goes, wow, look at Muñoz. He gronked it, the spike. And I wrote back, I said, excuse me, I said, Gronk Muñoz is his spikes. And the guy goes, oh, I'm so sorry. You're right. But yeah, that was the first one. And I mean, it was, as an O-line, we just were, and I give a lot of credit. So Monday, you go in, you lift, everybody would leave the facility and we would have our fat man football game. We would have between the numbers, tag football, and it would be the older guys again. In fifth year, I was an older guy, so we'd play the younger guys in a touch football game. Well, Max Montoya, the starting right guard, was a quarterback, and I was a receiver. And we'd get a young guy say, I got Muñoz. I look at Max, and we'd torch him and stuff. And so Sam's office was right on the corner there, and I think he would watch us, and maybe that's kind of what led to throwing to me. But so that was. And you'll appreciate, I got to share this story too. So we're playing at home against Seattle, and now I'm the left tight end, 78 eligible, referee announces it. So I'm supposed to hit the guy, and I go to the pylon, boom. Well, Boomer gets flushed even in goal line. So I kind of cut across, and the end line's right here, and the linebacker's right here. And I see Boomer, so I'm thinking, just react. I stop. Boomer throws it, and I go up. There's no way I can, but this guy goes over my back.
Yeah.
Pass interference. We get another play. So it was just like, I watch my guys. I just watch my guys.
IQ, though.
I just watch my guys what they do. If a guy, you just stop and let them go over your back because there's no more room to keep running.
Then you get past.
And then one other one, we're in Houston, and this time I'm the right tight end. Bruce Coslit's up in the box, and we call, hit and go to the pylon. Well, and whistle goes. Dead. So what I do is I hook block that defensive end, drive him inside. Next play, get in the huddle, he calls the same play. I hit the guy, go, touchdown. So I get in the play and I said, Bruce, he says, I saw you hook the guy. You ran blocked him. I said, yeah. He goes, I saw that. You didn't give it away. So So caught a couple against Houston, one against Seattle, and then of course the big one, Cleveland. I mean, it was all four were Boomer. All four were Boomer. So
y'all were in sync. I like that.
I did. Yeah. Look, man. First of all, I love big man football. Whatever that was, that was awesome. I mean,
it's like when it's like when D linemen get interceptions.
We're so happy. Everybody's happy,
and everyone's trying to get them in the end zone. Everyone's trying to get them in the end zone. Like, yo, come on, let's go, keep it going, keep it riding.
Everybody loves big man with ball.
It's hilarious.
This is great. Okay, I love the stories. Thank you so much.
So, 2013 in New York, I won the Walter Payton Man of the Year. Very prestigious award that the NFL has. 1991, you win the award. What did that mean to you?
So that to me is right up there with Hall of Fame, and I got the Athletes in Action Bart Starr Award, which is similar to the Walter Payton, because that's not all football. It's who you are as an individual with your family in the community, and to me, that has so much more impact than the 13 years I played in the NFL. I mean, I'm talking lifetime impact with people that you're working with. And so, that Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year is very, very special. In fact, I got the jersey framed in my man cave with the little
the patch.
Yeah, the patch on it. And
you got the patch? I ain't got the patch. I got to get the patch.
You got to get the patch.
I ain't got the. I got to talk to somebody. I got to get the patch.
Talk to, I think, Tracy.
Yeah. Tracy, I need my patch.
Tell Anthony mentioned a jersey with the Man of the Year patch on it.
They went back and got you one.
No. So what happened? So in Minnesota, Super Bowl, the Eagles, when
Yep. I was there. I went to that one.
There.
Yeah.
So Chris Carter noticed that the players on the field had he goes, hey, all us former winners, man.
Yeah. They don't.
And you didn't get the jersey.
No.
I thought they put a jersey in all the rooms.
So I have a jersey when we do appearances and things like that, but I don't have like my own personal, I got to get the patch.
Like your game jersey with they have it sewed on and stuff. Yeah.
I got to get that.
Yeah. But that award, I mean, and had a chance, of course, to be around Walter. Mm-hmm. I mean, what a guy. I mean, we're in a round table in DC one year, my daughter's 6 years old. And what I'd do when they were young, I'd take them to an event, just myself, my son, my daughter, and we'd go. And so I took her to DC, and we're doing these round tables. And one of them, Walter and I sat out. So we were out there sitting down, and Michelle was sitting between Walter and I. And we left, and she felt like a princess after spending time with Walter. Man, she would ask, how's Walter Payton doing when she was a little girl? And but to carry his name and to be, so that is a very, right up there at the top with anything I've been awarded with.
All right. Could you tell us more about your Anthony Muñoz Foundation? You have been able to affect more than 57,000 youth throughout the Cincinnati and Ohio area. You've given over $2 million away in scholarship funds.
We started in 2002. Of course, I retired, 10 years prior to that. And I understand when you're playing, you have leverage, you have relevance to start. And a lot of young guys start foundations. Husband, father, an NFL football player. I didn't have time to be involved in a foundation. So I helped a lot of other groups what they were doing. Because when I do something, I want to be totally engaged. I want to be hands-on impact. So in 2002, after putting a game plan together and talking to corporate people, our kids were like sophomores in college. I said, now's the time to start it. So I started the Anthony Muñoz Foundation to engage the tri-state area to impact youth mentally, physically, and spiritually. So we have 8 programs, the scholarship being one of the programs we have. We work with young people from kindergarten through seniors in high school. Everything from mentoring programs from K through 5, and then we don't want to lose them after 5th grade. So we have another mentoring program for middle school. And then, so that's 2 of the programs. We have overnight character camps. We take away in the spring, pretty multicultural. We take away about 150 young men to three nights to a camp, and they just show up. We teach them a little football. Man, we can't take them to camp, but a lot of it is character, team building, and then we have a chapel and a character talk every day, and we have a coaching staff that leads them through discussion. We do that one in the spring, and then in the fall we do one that's 100% Hispanic kids. Take them away for 3 days and feed them, give them swag. Like I said, all they do is bring their change of clothes and whatever they need to bring. So that's 2 more. Then in June, I have a dinner and golf. And then 2 days, right about that time, it's the same template as the overnight camps, but it's a day camp at the Bengals Stadium. We have about 400 young people. 20% of those 400 are young ladies. Same thing. We teach them a little football, but it's character, team building. And I have a coach that coached high school football forever, was an educator, and he could probably write a book on, and you could use it for young people, corporations, on team building activities. And we do that. We utilize that. So we do those 3 camps. In October, we have what we call our youth leadership seminar. We bring in anywhere from 85 to 100 high schools, full day. We have motivational leadership speakers. We have breakout sessions. We have key stakeholders in the community that lead this high school through conversation of things they might not want to discuss, and we'll do entrepreneurs, we do mental health, which has been a big hit for these young people. Yeah. So we bring in speakers, and at the end of the day, after this full day event, we do a community service challenge. And these young people will initiate and put them together. And we've had some great community service projects. They put together projects, and then we kind of track them, and I give money to the top 2, maybe like redoing a school, a playground, or doing this we had an inner city school, very little resources. They initiated, and it's still going. Not only came up with an idea, but built brick and mortar a school in Sierra Leone.
Really?
And then the next year, this was inner city school. They did a fundraiser with the suburban school. So you're talking 99% black, 99% white. They had a walk. They raised about $30,000. It costs $1 a year to put a kid through school. So they sent us pictures of these kids that had Aiken High School, these little kids in Sierra Leone, because that was a school. But we have things like that. So that's our leadership seminar. We have 2 types of scholarships. One's in the spring. We do 9 male, 9 female finalists. It's called our straight A. Academics, athletics, attitude, achievement, but a big criteria is overcoming adversity. And that's a one-time $2,000 to $5,000 scholarship. We have an amazing steakhouse in Cincinnati. The guy donates it. They bring their most influential teacher. And then we award them. I
like that.
The male winner gets a custom-made ring, foundation ring. The gal gets a nice pendant. And then so they get to come up to the podium with their teacher. We take pictures. That's our straight A. And then in the summer, when we do our event, we have our scholarship fund. So we award $20,000 scholarships to individuals. We just gave out 5 last month in June. And 2 days after that, one of my board members 2 board members and myself, we interview these young people. That we do interview. And we had 15 finalists, and we had funds for 5. So after each interview, my buddy said, man, I wish we had 15 scholarships, because every one of them was deserving.
Yeah.
So 2 days afterwards, this board member calls and says, I'm so thankful to be on this committee, and we interview these young people, and you know how passionate I am about, we have a chance to change lives. I mean, we're talking first generation kids. They graduate, they come back and help. He says, they run, him and his wife run a family foundation. He says, we just had a board meeting, and we're going to write your foundation a grant. Let's plan. We have 10 scholarships for next year already. Stroked a check for $200,000.
Awesome.
So right now, a year in advance, we already have 10 scholarships that we're going to give next year. So that's the foundation. Like you said, we deal with about 25 to 300 young people, and I love it because I'm there at the camps, and
we can tell you're involved. The way you're able to
it.
provide so much information, the passion in which you speak about, like we can tell you care. And so this goes a lot back to what you're saying when you're coaching your own son, when you're coaching, you're doing all these things. I appreciate you for being who you are. I can tell everything you do, it matters to you.
Well, it does, and it's funny. I was meeting with I called my CEO tour. I go, and I'm the guy that I share my passion and mission, and hopefully they write checks, or I ride with the guy for 4 hours in a golf cart, don't ask a penny, and here, you need some money. So I was talking to a CEO in Cincinnati, and about 20 minutes into it, he goes, man, you know what's going on with your foundation.
Yeah.
You know what? I said, everything's public. You can check our audits. The last 6 years, we've given 95 cents to $1 on the kids. And he goes, I'm on the board this was a few years ago, I'm on the board of one of the players. He goes, they don't know what's going on with their names on. I said, that's why I waited 10 years after, because I wanted to be engaged. I run our board meetings. I don't know everything about it, but I know our numbers. I know where it's all going. I make decisions on staff payment. We have 4 staff. We're a lean staff for what we do, but they get it done. And I have 17 unbelievable board members. I mean, I could call them right now for some advice, and if they didn't pick up the phone, they'd call right back. And then one thing we started, which is pretty cool, 24 years ago, we have an internship program with local college students. We have 4 to 8 a year that come in, and it's non-paid. It's part of what they do at school, and they learn everything about the non-for-profits. They're not just running off copies, man. They're learning and working. And then we have a database of about 150 volunteers. So it's truly, it has my name on it, but it's a team effort. I mean, that's where it ends, with my name. But so yeah, we're rolling, and of course, at my age, you're thinking, okay, how much longer do you do this? And every year, my wife and I go, man, it keeps energizing us. We keep going. So
you've given us some gems with just how humble you are, and clearly you are not a self-made person.
No.
So if I gave you 4 people to put on your Mount Rushmore of who made you the man you are today, who would those 4 people be?
Right in the middle would be Esther Muñoz, my mom, who raised 5 by herself, working 2-3 jobs. Never knew my dad. He was in prison. And she taught us work ethic, not by sitting us down, but just by watching her walk over the tracks to work at 7 in the morning, coming home at 4, cooking dinner, washing clothes, and everything she taught us. And then literally teaching us what responsibility is, because if I wanted to play baseball in the summer, we had to do our chores. And it wasn't just dust. We had to wash clothes, wash dishes, iron clothes, clean the house. So she would be right there. I'd have to put my wife right there, Dee Dee. Like I said, I got married when I was 19. So she's been on the journey for a lot of years. And I mean, just a great supporter, a woman of great insight and great faith. And so I'd put Dee Dee there. I'd have to put Jesus right there, he'd be right there. I think it'd be between my mom and him, but I'd still put my mom, he'd be right next to her.
Even if you don't put him on, you can put him on the top.
He got his own.
Okay.
Jesus got his own.
Okay,
he's his own. He's his own.
He's
Like, he got his own.
Yeah. The 4th would be a team of support.
You're such a team player, you can't even pick a person.
I agree, right?
It's hard. And I did that specifically. It's like, no, I need you to pick 4 people. You can't. It's
I can't.
But that just goes with the character of like, a lot of people have poured into you.
I tell you what, it's been a great journey. Just, when Dee Dee and I pray in the morning, we pray about, of course, our family, then we pray about our college friends, we pray about our friends in Cincinnati. And it's just like, and I sit there at times just overwhelmed by just, because, men don't have, it's hard. Ladies have close friends, but you talk to men and it's like, give me your top 3-4 best friends. And they're like, I think most guys struggle with that.
Yeah,
I can give you like close to 10, like guys that are just tight, like-minded. I can call those 4 guys in California and at least 4 minimum in Cincinnati that I have that So I'm blessed, man. I tell you what, that's why I can't come up with just, because there's so many people in my life that have been just impactful.
Half of that, though, Anthony, is because you give that. And so when you give that emotion, you give that, you're open. And when you're open like that, you're usually able to receive more as well. And so when you put it out there into the earth, into the world, into the universe, that's when you get it. We always talk about, when you want something, you need to start praying for others to get it as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's when you receive it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you got to put it out there to receive it ultimately. And we can tell by your passion, your words, how much of a team guy you are, and how I get it listening to you and the way you describe things about who you truly genuinely are. And I hope the rest of us can pick, they're going to be able to pick up on that as well. It's just interesting because, for a lot of years when Cincinnati wasn't on top of everything, the one player that always stood out and they talked about was Anthony Muñoz. And now that I've got to sit down and meet you and humbly and just spend some time with you, the last person that Anthony Muñoz talks about is Anthony Muñoz. And so it's just really cool kind of putting all that together, being this young man that watched you and learned all these great things about you, then getting to meet you. And then it's like, actually he wants to talk about everybody else in his life.
I like that,
that's what made him.
Well, I appreciate that. And my wife and I always talk about it. I said, you know what? We're both from Ontario, California. And I mean, we don't forget where we came from.
Yeah.
We were doing an event last year, and it was a place where they take addicts and bring them in, and they house them, and they feed them, and they train them, get them jobs. And the guy that's directing it, he's a recovered addict, and his wife is the same thing. And she's talking to my wife. She's like, I know you guys are here to talk to us, but I'm sure you guys don't understand what a lot of us are going through. And I'm like, Didi's going, no, we both come from dysfunctional. My brother OD'd in my arms when he was a senior in high school. Thank God he survived. I got 3 cousins doing life in prison. I communicate with them. And I said, no, we know what y'all are going through. We've had addiction. And, I paid for a couple funerals of my young cousins that were shot to death, drive-by shooting. So no, we get it. That's why we're doing what we're doing, because we want to be a part of the solution. But Didi and I, she's very smart, but we have that, background that we'll never forget. And very thankful that, where we came from. We talk about my college adversity. I'd never trade that in for what I learned. I mean, it was tough at the time. I mean, to be watching my guys every year on the sideline, that's one thing I told my son. He was a 4-year starter, but he sat out his second year. And the first thing I told him, I said, don't isolate yourself. Stay engaged with your team. They're preparing the coaches, so it's going to be a natural separation. Someone that's hurt I said, but you got to make it your initiative to be engaged. One of the things I did for 3 years, I became the official spatter. I'd carry my tape, but at SC, you had to spray paint your spat black. So if Charles White wanted a little extra tape, I'd have to have a spray can. If my lineman wanted a spat, I would do it for him, but I had to spray it black because no white tape on your shoes. So that's how I kind of stayed engaged, with my guys and hung out with them. But, because it's
find your niche, know your role.
Exactly. Yeah. You're right.
Be a team player.
Yeah. So
I got nothing else for Anthony. You've been amazing. Awesome. Thank you for just the wisdom and just everything you've said. I took it all in, and I really do appreciate it. And as Rome said, you really are passionate, and you give out what you receive.
I appreciate it. No.
And it is an organic feeling. And I'm taking that with me today.
No doubt, man. You are a light. You got to keep shining, Anthony Muñoz, because you shine so bright, you allow others to be seen. And so appreciate you, man, for stopping by, taking time. And I'm going to get us out of here. For all of our viewers and listeners out there, make sure you give us like, share, subscribe, leave a couple comments. You can check us out on the NFL Pages YouTube channel, whether you pick up your podcast at Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio app. Make sure you continue to tell a friend to do what, Peanut?
Tell a friend.
Check us out, man. Yes, man. Get us out of here, Peanut.
I'm Peanut. That's Rome. That's Anthony. And this is the NFL Players Second Acts Podcast.